So my take on this, and I think it kind of fits with kind of a combination of the poll responses, the model's probably not reliable enough yet to use for rate information. And even if and when it is, you'd probably want to supplement it with something else like live market data or one of the many rate data providers. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way to think about this is we need to think about the source. So this is Chat GPT's models in the backend, so OpenAI's. What are they trained on? The internet, and the internet up to 2021. So it's not even the internet of today. It's the internet of a couple of years ago. And how different was that? But it's very, very broad. So it's not like there was a very targeted place that it went to look for things. It got it from anywhere and everywhere. Maybe somebody posted it on Twitter. Maybe somebody put it on Reddit, wherever it scraped this data from. So it's super broad based. And again, what we're finding is it's really good at certain things. Take this thing and compare it for me, contrast it for me. That it's actually quite adept at. And there's really, I think, a lot of use cases that I could use exactly that to do a lot of things for me that would make my life easier as a hiring manager, as an MSP, as a program manager, as a contractor, as a supplier. But there are things that it can't do. And I think this leans into the training of these models. And right now we've got a very broad-based model that we're hitting, which again has its own kind of features and functions. But where I think this is going to go is we're going to get into the more training of these models with very specific data that will then result in more targeted responses. And you could come up with some model that is everything and everything all at once, and you ask it anything and it'll give you the response. Or you're going to have this scenario where maybe there's thousands of models and they all do very, very unique and different things. But the idea here is that how do we take the data that is unique to you and unique to the market and put it into one model so that I can ask this question with the right context to actually get a reliable answer. And I think the answer will likely always be that it's going to be maybe part of the picture for everybody. But the more maybe you can feed your picture into the model and have it do the number crunching and comparison for you, as opposed to making up the number, I think that's kind of the uniqueness of where I see this going is how do you take this data that I have now that my VMS is generating, that my market rate providers that I'm working with are starting to generate, my candidates that are coming through my door that they're generating. How do I put all that in one place and have it start to run all that comparison for me, take the legwork off of it so I can spend my time reviewing the analysis and taking action on it. That's kind of how I see maybe this starting to maybe trend out over the next year or two. And truth be told, OpenAI already has a couple models that you can train with your own unique data. However, they're the more rudimentary limited models at this point. You're not going to get these types of sophisticated responses. You'll get maybe a couple words, a couple lines, a couple bullets. However, this is, again, early days. So the fact that that's already a thing is really starting to kind of move the needle a bit further. And I'm starting to hear more and more about the training of these models becoming more and more kind of an important factor to really get the best out of these models and more purpose-built models.